Okay, let us turn to page 17, Heart Sutra Mantra. As we recite this mantra out of great compassion for your family members, including parents, and the parents, imagine the Buddha Shakyamuni exhorting. The Buddha Shakyamuni is exhorting us thus: don't remain in the fears of samsara. Come towards ultimate happiness. And you hearing this melodious voice of the Buddha Shakyamuni, you inspire your two parents, you inspire all the family members, including your children, and everyone here in Singapore. And for sure, just imagine that how many people in Singapore, out of the 6 million people there, citizens here, how many they really come in contact with the emptiness concept. Bodhicitta concept is so less. So with this out of great compassion towards all of them, and then towards every being on this splendid earth, and then in this Milky Way galaxy, in the entire universe, just out of great compassion towards them, inform them what the Buddha Shakyamuni, our great teacher, taught us, informing them that look, this is what a great teacher, compassionate teacher Buddha Shakyamuni taught us. Let us not stay in samsara anymore. Let us all go towards ultimate happiness. And everyone so happily joins you in this journey of cleansing the mind to awaken this Buddha nature within us. We don't have to get this. We don't have to seek this Buddhahood from anywhere else. It is just there within each one of us. Just to awaken this, make this seed, which is thus far asleep in this state of sleep, dormant state, make it awaken. And then you are leading this, and all beings are happily joining you. Deyatha Om Gati Gati Paragati Parasamgati Bodhi Swaha Atyatha Gati Paragati Parasamgati Bodhi Swaha Tyata Om Gati 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 Gati Parasamgati Bodhi Swaha Tyata Om Gati Gati Paragati Parasamgati Bodhi Swaha we will reach page 19, 8 verses of my training. And the red book, it might be on page 32 or something, page 32. The blue one, page 19. 32. Okay. The 8 verse of mind training. So here I'm pretty confident that the Singaporeans, you're already aware of this text in generally speaking. But the idea is that the 8 verse of mind training, oftentimes, if you read it yourself, you may get the impression that this is little, say, the self-denial. But in actuality, it is not. It is a very skillful way of, say, what we learned yesterday. Be kind to yourself and be wisely kind to yourself. The point is, do anything to be kind to yourself. Do anything to make your, say, to get rid of your fears and to attract as much happiness for yourself. For that matter, what we see from what we learned yesterday is that finally of the two things, say the two hands, external factors and the internal factors, we come to realize that trying to think of getting rid of external factors, this is totally unrealistic, which is totally impractical. But what is practical is to get rid of the internal factors. Now, to get rid of internal factors, we have to identify what the internal factors are. So, yesterday what we just vaguely touched on this area, the self-grasping ignorance and the self-centered attitude. So these are two things. Self-grasping ignorance, which forbids us from experiencing fearlessness, and a self-centered attitude, which forbids us from experiencing infinite happiness. Finally, whether you're Buddhist, whether you are Muslims, Christians, Jains, what else? Jews, Parsis, Baha'i, non-believers, right? Whosoever you are, whoever the individual is, finally what we seek is that we seek freedom from all forms of fears, number one. Number two, to have as much happiness as possible. These are two goals finally. And if these two things are something which we can achieve, that is the meaning of the goal, that is the meaning of life. So for that matter, we see that the one thing which stops us from all the fears, all the fearlessness, which attracts all the fears, is the self-grasping ignorance. So this is one internal factor. And then one which stops us from experiencing infinite happiness is the self-centered attitude. These are two demons inside. So 8 verses of mind training here. When we read these 8 verses, what we realize is that there are very skillful ways and means to deal with these two demons inside, to curb, to get it off. First, mitigate the power, and then eventually get rid of these two demons from our mind. Okay. So that being the purpose, whenever this is mentioned, that I give the victory to others, I take the suffering, the loss on myself, and then say, may I treat somebody by the words of the person who creates all the problems on me as my teacher, and so forth. These are actually very skillful ways and means to help us identify the two demons inside and to crush the two demons. That is whole purpose. And of course, we have to study in more detail as to how it actually works. Okay, with that in mind, let's recite the 8 verse mind training and see. The point is the recitation per se, the benefit may be 20%. With the meanings included, the benefit go to 90%, 100%. So the meaning is so important. So whenever, okay, just for information, I know that many of you are very ardent practitioner in your own capacity, despite your, say, the daily household responsibilities, your jobs and so forth, still you take out little time for your practice. I know that there are many of you who do that. So then what does that practice, what does the practice constitute? What do you do? So in most cases, I would say that you're involved with some form of reading, some form of recitation, sadhana, and so forth, guaranteed. So when that is happening, how do you do? right? Your mind. So when you do that, there are three ways of doing it. Say your mind is engrossed with, oh, I have this deadline, I have this work, this deadline, this shopping, this laundry. So with these thoughts, what happened? You read the words, the meanings are not reflected, number one. You just read the words, the meaning is not reflected, number one. Then number two, okay, I should not waste my time, right? Just reading the words and my thoughts are going into all these things, the deadlines, the work, so whatever. So I'm just wasting my time, 20 minutes, half an hour, in some cases maybe 1 hour, 2 hours, right? So I'm just wasting my time. So how should I make it productive? That I spend 1 hour, that I spend half an hour, how to make it productive? Let the meanings flow as I read them. Let the meanings flow. That's number two. Words flow plus the meanings flow in your mind. This is number two reading. This is way more effective, beneficial than simply the words flowing. Number two. Number three, not only the meanings flow, experiences are invoked. So as you read, for example, say as we said, enthused by great compassion, the first stanza which we read, enthused by great compassion, you're taught immaculate dharma, to dispel the perverted views. To you, the Buddha Gautama, I pay homage. When you say this, words flow, meanings are reflected, and experience is invoked. How do we know that experience is invoked? When the experience is invoked, indications of goosebumps will come in the body. You'll feel the goosebumps, you'll feel the tickling sensation in your body. When that happens, experience is over. That gives the 100% benefit of your reciting, spending your time reciting these texts. And even though experience, to reach to that level of the invoking the experience, it'll take little time, but for sure what we can do is words can flow along with the meanings reflected. For that, don't just read so fast with the determination to achieve the highest aim for the benefit of sentient beings with some other life, so that I have to go to do my job, right? I have this responsibility. Then the benefit is there. No doubt the benefit is there. So some people say that, what's the point of you doing this, right? Rushing. Instead of that, don't rush. Go right now. Leave it. No. To do this, even in rush, is far better than not doing anything. Don't forget it. Even that is far better than not doing anything. So we have to do something. First, start doing something. Then do it more beneficially. Words flow and the meanings flow. Then, after a while, with the study, for example, the study programs that you have, the study various modules, right? You have, they are so precious. The studies, the ABC, TBC, all the programs that we have, study programs, you are very fortunate. Singapore is a very small place, yet you have beautiful, I would say there must be many other centers, Chinese centers, the Theravada centers, Tibetan Buddhist centers. Among the Tibetan Buddhist centers, I know that these are the two centers which are really providing good studies. You are very fortunate. In a very small place, still there are, say that with many other, along with many other centers, there are two very good centers which provide high quality studies of the Dharma. So precious. So with this, there is a hope that you study them, and then the meanings are reflected, and then through more reflection of meanings, slowly the experience will be invoked. Then you recite the stanza, enthused by great compassion. For example, say the Ye Dharma mantra, Ye Dharma hetu prabhava, hetum desham tathagato, hyavatat, desham jayu, nirota. When you say nirota, the cessation, think about emptiness, and goosebumps will come in the body. Tickling sensations come in the body. Say the inside, you could see physiologically, you could see the effect. So when these things happen, this is a real dharma. Dharma in its essence form. Okay, this is what we should be doing. So three things. First, words should flow. Number two, meanings should flow along with the words. And then the third one will take time for us. Particularly, say the meanings, to really reflect on the meanings, say Just recite the words. It may take you like, say this verse mind training, 8 verse mind training, may take you like 3 minutes. With the meanings reflected, it'll take you like 5-6 minutes. And believe it or not, when the meanings are reflected, your mind will feel exhausted. Because you're consuming so much energy to reflect on meanings. And then, say for example, without the meanings, you can read 15-20 pages very easily. With meanings reflected, you cannot read 15-20 minutes, 50 pages. You feel so tired. Because so much energy is consumed, right? But you can do it like 2-3 pages, and then you feel tired. Okay, take rest. Don't overexert. Then next time again do with the meanings. Again you feel tired. Slowly it will become a habit. It will become a habit. And then the tiredness will disappear. Then whenever you recite it, automatically the meanings will be reflected. Right? So these are the ways and means by which to make a life extremely meaningful, that we don't waste the time in the life. Okay, with that in mind, let's recite 8 verse mind training. Page 19, with the in the case of the blue book, and the red book, page 32. With the determination to achieve the highest aim, which surpasses even the wish-fulfilling gem, may I hold them dear all times. Whenever I interact with someone, may I view myself as the lowest among all, and from the very depths of my heart, respectfully hold others as superior. In all my deeds, may I probe into my mind, and as soon as mental and emotional afflictions arise, as they endanger myself and others, may I strongly confront them and avert them. When I see beings of unpleasant character, oppressed by strong negativity and suffering, may I hold them dear, for they are rare to find, as if I have discovered a jewel treasure. When others out of jealousy treat me wrongly with abuse and scorn, may I take upon myself the defeat and offer to others the victory. When someone whom I have helped or in whom I have placed great hopes mistreats me in extreme for hurtful ways, may I regard him still as my precious teacher. In brief, may I offer benefit and joy to all my mothers, both directly and indirectly. May I quietly take upon myself all hurts and pains of my mothers. May all this remain undefiled by the stains of the 8 mundane concerns, and may recognizing all things as illusions, devoid of clinging, be released from bondage. Okay, now we'll do 5 minutes breath meditation. Okay, a very quick reminder. For some, maybe this is the last day, whereas those who will attend the next 2-day program, we will do the meditation there also. But then for those, if this is your last day for this visit, then for you, I like to say they share with this the 4 points of the meditation, just as a reminder, which we did the last 2 days, the 4 points for meditation. One is the body posture. Number 2 is the focal point. Number 3 is identifying the errors of meditation. Number 4, applying the remedies to overcome the errors. Okay, the 4 points to keep in mind. And the body posture, if you can sit cross-legged at home, and see if you can make it like, the meditation practice on a daily basis. See if you can do that. That would be very good, extremely good. And then finally, we may have reasons to say, okay, because I really don't get time, right? I really don't get time. Okay, I understand this. And then when will you get time then? This is the next question, right? When will you get time? Okay, when I reach 40, when I reach 50, when I reach 60. Those who are in their 20s, they may say that when I reach 30. Those who are 30 will say that when I reach 40. When you're 40, you may be more realistic. You may say, when I reach 60. When you reach 60, you may say, okay, still I'm healthy, I'm a little busy. And when I reach, okay, 70. When you're 70, you'll say 80, right? And then the 80, you'll say, very likely you will say, okay, maybe next year, right? And then next year never comes. This is how we deceive ourselves, finally, right? And then in the end, what will you say? That, how I wish if I have started earlier, right? Many of you, I agree with you fully. Many people, they say in India also, wherever we go for the retreats, Bodhicitta retreats, recently we did one in Pune, it was very touching. There's one gentleman, I think he is 65, 66, and totally from a non-Buddhist denomination. Not at all Buddhist. So in Bombay talk, he happened to be there. He was so happy. And then in Pune, he joined. And then finally attending this retreat for about, I think, like 1 week. He said that, how come that I didn't know about such a teaching? Such brilliant teaching on emptiness, bodhicitta, very beautiful teaching. How come that I meet with this teaching only late in my life? Right? So that is true. I agree with you. Now, after having met this, no excuse. Right? After having met with this teaching, and then again you say, okay, yeah, it's beautiful teaching. When are you going to practice it? After 5 years, after 10 years, and it will never come. Right? So the question, in the end, if you don't regret in the end, oh, how I wish I have done something. Right? If in the end, if you don't regret, then that's good. For sure we'll regret. Right? Say, imagine 20 years from now in the future. 20 years from now in the future, right? Younger ones, you start to have your gray hairs coming here like this, right? Okay, just imagine like 20 years in the future. And you go back in time. What did I do? What did this prime of my life? What did I do with this life, right? I said that, I have no time for practice. See if I can, Geshe, please teach me something that I can do in 5 minutes. But you have 24 hours. From 24 hours, okay, 6, 7 hours sleep is fine. Keep that aside. Remaining part, what did you do? Right? Working, that's good. Working, how many hours? Say 8 hours. Keep that aside. Still we have about, say 8 hours. From these 8 hours, what have you been doing? 8 hours into 360 days into 20 years. What have you been doing, right? Now, we see that, no, I have no time. After 20 years, you will say that, no, I did not use my time meaningfully, right? So this is the dilemma. What I would suggest, try to go back and try to go in the future, 20 years in the future. From there, you look in retrospect, see how what would be your thinking then. You're getting it? Thinking then. So what the point that I'm saying is that see if you can meditate for like 5 minutes a day. 5 minutes a day. Just see if you can meditate 5 minutes a day. Just try that. And this breathing meditation. Then when you start within like month or 2 months, don't do it like half an hour in full stretch, 1 hour in the one go. No, don't do that. Start small. Then the consistency will build up. Consistency is more important than doing something big in the beginning. Consistency is so important. With the consistency, then you'll slowly build a sense of ease. Ease with what you're doing. Okay, that is very important. So with this in mind, for the practice, 4 points to keep in mind. One is body posture. For the body posture, if you're going to do it for a long-term practice, then sitting cross-legged with the left foot on your right leg and the right foot on your left leg. This is extremely important, one. Then number 2, what is so important, no compromise, is the body upright. And then don't lean against the wall. Don't lean against the support. Just sit upright like this. Meanwhile, the body should be flexible. This is so important. Then the eyes should not be closed. For beginners, with eyes closed is very comfortable, but it's deception. Right? It's very comfortable. With eyes open, some form of challenges are there. Some form, I cannot meditate. My mind follow the table. My mind follow what is in front of me. These problems are there. Somehow we have to get into this problem. The point is that we have the skill. We have the skill to separate your mental consciousness and eye consciousness. When we don't practice it, my mental consciousness always follows eye consciousness, and you can. What will meditate is the mental consciousness. For example, when you're looking at me, you may think about your deadlines. Right? You may think about the other jobs, other works. So that, what is thinking? What is that mind that is thinking about your deadlines and so forth? That's your mental consciousness. And what you're using to look at me is your eye consciousness, sense consciousness. So sense consciousness and the mental consciousness, these two must be separated. Right? So when we are not doing virtues, we can easily separate. For example, okay, I'm already here, I have a deadline there. Okay, so right, you are looking at me and your mind is going around that. You already separated this. But when doing virtue, you say that I cannot separate. Right? With the virtue, yes, I should meditate on the breath, Buddha image like this. No, my mind cannot think about the Buddha. My mind constantly see what is in my eyes. This is when we are doing virtue, our mind does not doesn't display the skill. When not in virtue, with the trivial things, our mind is so expert in separating the sense consciousness and the mental consciousness. So somehow we acquire the skill to separate the mental consciousness and sense consciousness in meditation, with eyes open. Then, tip of the tongue should touch the upper palate to avoid excessive accumulation of saliva. Breathe naturally, and teeth and the lips give them in their natural course. Right hand on the left hand, with the tips of thumbs joining, forming a triangle. Place the two hands on the laps in a restful state and flexible. Okay, this is the body posture. Then number 2 is the focal point. If you cannot do the multitasking, then just focus on the breath. Just count the breath. Breathe in, breathe out. 1, breathe in, breathe out. 2, slowly we will sense even the flow, the cold sensation of the air passing by your nose, warm sensation of the air passing through your nose out. You will slowly feel that. Okay. Whereas if you can, then go for multitasking, which is count the breath plus focus on the tiny dot, white dot, which is 1 mm or 2 mm in diameter. Diameter, white dot, between your nose and the upper lip. Okay. Just focus your mind there, and then some people may say that I cannot do the visualization, I cannot focus it. So on the day 1, I told you how to do that. If you think that you cannot focus, just with the punch to make up the hole, the sheet of paper, but the punch, the tiny white dot, white paper, attach it, look at the mirror and see what that's like. And again, you say don't look at the mirror and visualize what have you seen, visualize. If you cannot visualize, again look at the mirror. And slowly it will become more and more vivid. When you're able to do that, then no need of this. Remove this and just simply focus your mind on the tiny dot and then count the breath. Okay, these two things should happen together. That is the focal point. Then number 3, identify the errors of meditation. What mistakes can we make during the meditation? So generally speaking, 2 mistakes. One is mental laxity and the other was mental excitement. Mental excitement is when your mind is distracted and scattered and overactive. And mental laxity is when your mind is lethargic, inserviceable, sloppy, and very heavy. Okay, passive and sleepy. So these are 2 errors. Number 4, applying the remedies to overcome the errors. Remedy is twofold. One is introspection and the other one is mindfulness. Introspection is just keeping an eye on your own mind to see if your mind is actually meditating or is distracted or is sleeping. So with this introspection, once you sense that your mind is either distracted or in a lax state, then apply the mindfulness. Mindfulness like the rope. Bring the mind back to the intended object of the meditation. Okay, this is what we're going to do for 5 minutes. Ready? Okay. Yesterday we were on stanza 8 of the In Praise of Dependent Origination, stanza 8. We finished stanza 8. What we learned yesterday is a very important point. How to see emptiness not as nihilism. Emptiness means the middle way, and the middle way, emptiness means dependent origination, and dependent origin means middle way. Okay. Because that we don't have much time, there are still many stanzas to go. Otherwise, we have to do a little bit of interaction to double check that you have all these points on your fingertips. That the emptiness means dependent origination. How? Through the 5 points. You remember? What's the first point? Emptiness. What is the point number 2? Emptiness does not nothingness. Emptiness is the short form of emptiness of independent existence, number 2. The emptiness of independent existence means, number 3, nothing exists independently, number 3. Nothing exists independently means, number 4, everything exists by dependence, number 4. Everything exists by dependence means everything is dependently originated. Okay, so through these 5 points we learned that emptiness means the dependent origination, the 1. Number 2, dependent origination means the middle way. How? Dependent origination has 2 sides. What's the first side? Dependence. What's the second side? Origination. Dependence, when you say dependence, what rejects the extreme of absolutism? How? When we say dependence, opposite of dependence is independence. So independence is rejected, and independence and absolutism, absolute. These two mean the same. So when dependence, absolutism is rejected, extreme of absolutism is rejected. So number 2 is origination. When we say origination, it means something comes into origination, something comes into existence. When you say something comes to existence, what is the opposite of existence? Non-existence or nihilism. So with the origination, nihilism is rejected. Bringing dependent and origination together rejects the 2 extremes. Rejecting the 2 extremes following the middle way. Very good. Okay, so therefore, point number 3, therefore, emptiness is not nothingness, it is the middle way. Don't forget this. So from this, what we are to do is that we are to see the harmony of emptiness and dependent origination. Harmony of emptiness and dependent origin. Okay, now to recapitulate what we did, particularly yesterday. To recapitulate what we did yesterday, say the flower. Okay, let's say the flower, group A looks at it through naked eyes, group B looks at it through electron microscope. So pertaining to the flower, not pertaining to atoms, pertaining to flower, if I ask the group A, what is this? What's your response? Flower. Group B, what is this? Emptiness of flower. A flower is not there. You are just seeing the atoms. You're getting it? You are chasing the millions of atoms. The flower is not there. He's asking about the flower. Flower is not there. Flower is not there. Not is nil. Empty. Emptiness of flower. You getting it? So, group A, what are you seeing? Flower. Group B, what are you saying? Emptiness of flower. Okay. Now, these two perceptions, which of the two perceptions is correct? One says that there's a flower, one says that the flower is empty. Which of the two perceptions is correct? Both are correct. What makes you say that both are correct? Because the two are describing the same object with two different frames of reference. Right? So, the mind which you employ, group A employs, the mind which group A employs is known as conventional analysis, and the mind which group B employs is known as ultimate analysis. You getting it? Okay, so with these two different frames of reference, looking at the same object, there is no contradiction. Group A sees this as a flower, Group B sees this as emptiness of flower, there is no contradiction. You getting it? Okay, now this is so important. Seeing this as a flower, is this mistaken or not mistaken? This is valid, this is wrong, or this is deceptive, or this is correct? Hey, Group A, this is correct. There's a flower there. So by using the conventional analysis, Group A uses conventional analysis to see this as a flower. So because it uses the conventional analysis, what it sees is the conventional truth. Because the analysis that you employ is conventional analysis. So what you see is the conventional truth. What do you see? You will see, hey, what is this? Flower. So the flower is conventional truth. Whereas Group B, what you employ is what? Ultimate analysis. When I ask Group B, Group A, don't ignore this. Group A, you also, mentally just take part in it. Otherwise, you will miss the conventional analysis. Right? Hey, Group B. So, what analysis do you use? What are you seeing here? Emptiness of the flower. What analysis do you use? Group B. Ultimate analysis. Because you are using the ultimate analysis, what you are seeing is the ultimate truth. So what is the ultimate truth? Emptiness of the flower. You're getting it? Emptiness of the flower. Okay. So now, this is very important. This is very important. Say, in Singapore, there's traffic, no traffic. Huh? There's traffic. This is good, not good. Huh? Some would complain it's not good, but I would say it's very good. Right? Okay, so it's very good. You're getting it? So appreciation of the functional world. Appreciation of functional world. If you do good, good things happen. If you do bad, bad things happen. If you're kind, you will have happiness. If you're being unkind, you are unhappy. So all these are known as the functional world. So functional world can be explained with respect to which? Ultimate conventional analysis, ultimate analysis. Functional world. Conventional analysis. You getting it? So when you speak about emptiness, it does not reject conventional it doesn't reject conventional world. It embraces conventional world by keeping in mind the conventional analysis. With the conventional analysis, all the conventional world is accepted. Right? Law of karma, everything is accepted. We are not rejecting anything. We embrace all phenomena precisely. So, with this understanding, do good things, yes, it is true, dependent origination. Right? Conventional analysis, with this what you see is you see the dependent origination. You plant the seed, apple tree grows. Right? You plant a poisonous tree grows. So this is what you see. Which of the two minds will see? Conventional analysis, ultimate analysis. Conventional analysis will see this. You're getting it? This cause and effect is seen by the conventional analysis. Okay. Now, Group B, you see the emptiness of the flower. When you see the emptiness of the flower, just as a flower in your eyes, it is empty. Likewise, what Group A sees as miseries, what Group A sees as suffering, when you see this, subject the same suffering to Group B, what do you see Group B? Emptiness of the suffering. So in your experience, suffering dissolves. You are getting it? So yesterday what we learned, the whole purpose for the Buddha Shakyamuni to appear on this earth is to teach us how to subject all our miseries, which are happening where? Conventionally or ultimately? Conventionally, right? Conventionally, how to subject the miseries that we are going through in the conventional sense, how to subject them to ultimate analysis, and then you realize that in that experience, misery stops. You're getting it? This is so precious. Okay, in other words, the emptiness of the emptiness experience has dual benefits. The dual benefits, that is that emptiness and dependent origination, what we've learned is that these two are the two sides of the same coin. Two sides of the same coin. You look at, from the ultimate analysis, from the conventional analysis, you look at it, you see the dependent origination. You see the conventional truth. You see the dependent origination. You see the other side, through ultimate analysis, you see the emptiness. Actually, it's the same thing. Right? How you look at it. You look at the same object. Through ultimate analysis, you see emptiness. Through conventional analysis, you see the flower. You're getting it? Now, seeing emptiness, the benefit is that all your tension, stress, depression, everything will dissolve. Right? All the miseries will dissolve. Seeing the dependent origination, all the good qualities will grow. Because good quality is compassion. Right? Then they say the loving kindness, generosity, all these virtues, they are causally dependent, cause-effect relationship. They all arise out of dependence on the causes. So this cause-effect relationship is seen through ultimate analysis, the conventional analysis or ultimate analysis. Conventional analysis. You're getting it? So seeing dependent origination, all your good qualities will grow. And seeing emptiness, all your miseries will dissolve. So this is incredibly the great benefit of seeing emptiness. Okay, so with this, what we do is that we see that emptiness dependent origination, these two must be seen as two sides of the same coin. You're getting it? So where dependent origination is there, emptiness is possible. You're getting it? Where emptiness is there, dependent origination is possible. Where if things are not dependent origination, if things are independent, emptiness is not possible. If emptiness is not possible, suffering cannot dissolve. You're getting it? If things are independently real, we cannot bring suffering to an end. Whereas if there is emptiness, then dependent origination is possible. If dependent origination is possible, all good qualities increasing will be possible. You're getting it? This is a very beautiful philosophy and a practice. And if you learn, in the end, I'm going to conclude with a very brief practice, how we can do it, even though some of you may be very beginners, and others may be the seniors who might be into, say, the study of emptiness and so forth for the last many years. And the seniors may feel a little envious of the beginners. Within 3 days, you got everything. Right? Okay, the beginners, raise your hands. Okay, so which means that you have a special responsibility to pay more attention. Right? Okay. Okay, when Anila come. Okay, now we are on stanza 9. We are on stanza 9. Okay, for the emptiness, don't forget one example. I like to give you one example to share this, that emptiness, dependent origination are the two sides of the same coin. You're getting it? By seeing emptiness, what's the benefit? All miseries will dissolve. By seeing dependent origination, all good qualities will grow. Don't forget it. Okay, so for that, one example that I like to give you is the example of tea strainer. Tea strainer. How many of you know tea strainer? You don't know tea strainer? Wow. Okay, the girls are explaining this to the boys. Okay. Isaac, you know tea strainer? Are you sure?
Explain to her.
I see. Okay. In most cases, the girls will explain. I can see the girls explaining this to the boys, but Isaac is exception. He's explaining. He's not. He said he's explaining. He claimed he explains. Okay. So the point is T-strainer. What does the T-strainer do? Don't forget it. T-strainer, it does two things. It holds back. It holds back the not drinkable residue. Right? Not drinkable residue. It holds back. It doesn't let it flow. What lets it flow freely is the drinkable tea. Drinkable tea, it does not interrupt. It lets it flow very smoothly. Non-drinkable residue, which is not good for you, that it holds it back and stop it. Right? So it does two things. Likewise, the emptiness experience, it stop all the miseries. It hold back all the miseries and will stop that and let flow the virtuous qualities. Let flow and let grow the virtuous qualities. This is a beautiful thing about the emptiness. Okay, so how many of you want to practice emptiness? The practice of wisdom emptiness? Okay, we're slowly coming up. Okay, how many of you want to get rid of your fears? Very fast, right? If you want to get rid of fears, there's no choice other than to meditate on emptiness, right? You can get rid of your fears temporarily. Temporary fears can be got rid of without emptiness. But if you want to get rid of the fears completely, altogether, without emptiness experience, it is impossible. So therefore, there's no choice. Whether you like it or not, you have to do it if you want to get rid of all your fears. You getting it? Okay. But you can. It's not that you cannot. Right? Oftentimes what happens is that, okay, some of the seniors, the students here, or the participants, you may have encountered with many other monks, nuns, and geshes, right? And some of them, you ask about emptiness, they say, no, emptiness is very complicated. Right? Some people told you like this. Yes, it's very difficult. It's very complicated. No, never ever feel demoralized. You can get it. You can experience it. The only thing is that first you have to have, some very systematic way of getting it. Say, like a flavor of what emptiness is. Once you get it, then you go for more extensive studies. You will get it. Right? Once you get some flavor of what emptiness is, then it will boost your energy to do it more consistently. That is so precious, so precious. If I were to tell you, if you ask me one thing, that in our life, finally, what is the real meaning for life? I will say, to look for emptiness and to look for the unconditional love of bodhicitta. These are the only two great meanings of your life. You're getting it? Okay, don't forget it. With this mind, let us turn to page 9. Stanza 9. Stanza 9. And in the book, what page is that? The blue book? Blue book. Page 3. Page 53, stanza 9. And the handout is just stanza 9. Okay. To help heal sentient beings, O benefactor, you have taught the peerless reason to ascertain emptiness, the heart of the teaching. Now, Lama Tsongkhapa is the author of the text. Lama Tsongkhapa is using the word emptiness. So finally, we have to understand emptiness. What's the purpose of life? Two purposes. One is to get rid of all the fears, and number two is to acquire the maximum happiness. Two things. To get rid of all the fears, finally you have to what? What should we do? Anyone? To get rid of all the fears, what should we do? To realize emptiness. How does this help? Anyone? Very quick. Yes, Yamasmullah? Oh, to subject the miseries to the ultimate analysis. You're getting it? To understand emptiness means to subject the miseries to ultimate analysis. Then what happens? In that experience of the ultimate analysis, miseries dissolve. This is the state of fearlessness. And if you want to know the summary of these 3 days talk, what I would say is that the most fearless mind that exists in this universe, not just in Singapore, that most fearless mind that possibly exists in this universe is the wisdom of emptiness. Don't forget it. The moment you have the wisdom of emptiness coming to you, it gives you the greatest sense of fearlessness. The most fearless mind is the wisdom of emptiness. One. Number two, the most beautiful mind that exists in this universe. The most beautiful mind. Just, you feel it, you just feel like crying with such a tenderness and tremendous, the ambience, the spread of the feeling of joy. The most beautiful mind is the unconditional love of bodhicitta. Right? And who will actually experience this most beautiful mind? Everyone. We have to practice bodhicitta. Who likes to experience fearlessness? Everyone. Practice the wisdom of emptiness. You getting it? This is so precious. If you know that, so tell me, what's the opposite of the wisdom of emptiness? What's the opposite of wisdom of emptiness? If the wisdom of emptiness gives you fearlessness, the opposite which gives you all the fears. Self-grasping ignorance. Self-grasping ignorance is the one which attracts all the fears. So where is this self-grasping ignorance? Run away from it. Where is it? In Singapore or elsewhere. It is within each one of us. We cannot run away from it. Simply remove it. Remove it. You getting it? Okay. And if you really want to experience the tension, the state of tensionlessness, the state of joy, incredible tenderness. That is the unconditional love of bodhicitta. This both you can cultivate. We can cultivate, include myself, we can cultivate. We can cultivate. Right? Okay. So with this, now it says to help heal sentient beings from the suffering, the fear, tension, depression, and so forth. O benefactor referring to Buddha, you have taught the peerless reason to ascertain emptiness. You have to understand emptiness. And what is that? How can I get to emptiness? Through the reasoning of dependent origination. You getting it? Emptiness means the dependent origination. We learned that. Emptiness means a dependent origination. Dependent origination means the middle way. You said it. So emptiness means a dependent origination. This dependent origination, if you understand this, that is the greatest reason to connect you to emptiness. To get you to give you the experience of emptiness. So what is the most peerless reason? What is the most powerful reason to understand emptiness? It is the reasoning of dependent origination. Okay. A peerless reason to the ascertain. Peerless reason referring to the dependent origination. To ascertain emptiness, the heart of the teaching. This dependent origination is the heart of the teaching. Because that is the most powerful reason to take you to the understanding of emptiness. Number 10. This way of dependent origination, those who perceive it as contradictory or as unestablished, how can they comprehend your system? Okay, so anyone getting stuck with dependent origination, either they don't accept dependent origination. Dependent, no, how come? Everything is independent, right? If this is your belief, you get stuck. Then there's no way by which you can understand emptiness. And then if you see, oh yeah, things are dependent originated. Because things are dependent originated, things are not empty. Things are there, solid. Things are objectively real. These two are the wrong understandings. The way of dependent origination, those who perceive it refers to dependent origination as contradictory. Contradictory means dependent origination is contradictory with emptiness. This is one wrong way of looking at it. Number two is that dependent origination is unestablished, which means that it is not true. Things are not dependent originated. These are the two mistaken views. How can they comprehend your system? If these are the two mistakes that one goes through, how can you understand? How can that person comprehend your system of wisdom of emptiness, your system of the wisdom of emptiness? 11. Okay, now we're going to this little technical because that we already explained emptiness, dependent origination, the middle way yesterday, right? And today we emphasize so much on how these to be seen as harmonious. Emptiness and dependent origination as harmonious, as non-contradictory. Right? Where emptiness is possible, dependent origination is possible. Where dependent origination is possible, emptiness is possible. Where emptiness is not possible, dependent origination is not possible. If dependent origination is not possible, then the growth of the good quality is not possible. This is what we have learned. You getting it? And if dependent origination is not possible, then emptiness is not possible. If emptiness is not possible, then fears cannot be severed. Fears cannot be removed. Nirvana cannot be achieved. Okay, this is the dynamics that we have learned already. Okay, with this, 11. For you, when one sees emptiness in terms of the meaning of dependent origination, now you're getting it? Now it's easy for you, right? For you meaning, for you, those who follow the Buddha's system, those who follow this rational thinking, for you, when one sees emptiness in terms of the meaning of dependent origination, emptiness not as nothingness, but as dependent origination, then being devoid of intrinsic existence means intrinsic existence, independent existence mean the same. Devoid of intrinsic existence, devoid of independent existence, and possessing valid functionality of the world, there is no contradiction. Who sees emptiness? Group A, Group B. Hey, Group B sees emptiness, and who sees the functional world? Group A. So there's no contradiction. You're getting it? So this we have learned that there's no contradiction between these two. Emptiness of independent, emptiness meaning emptiness of what? Hey, Group A, Group B both. Emptiness of what? Emptiness of independent existence, emptiness of intrinsic existence, they all mean the same. So emptiness of intrinsic existence and functional world, there's no contradiction. Okay, good. Then being devoid of intrinsic existence and possessing valid functional world, they do not contradict. Whereas when one sees the opposite means dependent. Emptiness means there is no dependent origination. Emptiness means nihilism. Dependent origination means it's not emptiness. Dependent origination means independent existence or objective existence, intrinsic existence. If this is how you look at it, whereas when one sees the opposite, since there can be no functionality in emptiness, for these people, no emptiness in what has function. So these two are seen as contradictory. One falls into the dreadful abyss you maintain. Abyss meaning that you fall into the philosophical abyss. You fall into a wrong view, abyss of the wrong view. To see that emptiness does not have the function does not have emptiness. If this is how you look at things, you fall into the extremes. Good. 13. Therefore, in your teaching, in the teaching of the Buddha, in the teaching of the emptiness, seeing dependent origination is hailed. Meaning that seeing dependent origination is praised as so precious. Why so precious? Because if you see dependent origination correctly, this will take you to understand emptiness. If you understand emptiness, this will take you to dissolve your fears of life, all the mental, the miseries will be dissolved. That is whole purpose. Therefore, in your teaching, seeing dependent origination is hailed. That too, not as what is dependent origination? Not as an utter non-existence. What is utter non-existence? Nihilism. Nor as an intrinsic existence. What is intrinsic existence? Absolutism. So dependent origination should be seen as not utter nihilism, not utter intrinsic existence, which means should be devoid of two extremes. That is, falling the middle way. Right? Okay, good. 14. Now, the two things. Emptiness on one hand, emptiness of what? Emptiness of independent existence. And the other one is, no, things exist independently. Two things. So these two things are very contradictory. Non-contingent. Non-contingent means not dependent. What is not dependent? Independent. What is independent? If something is independent, what's the problem? Non-contingent means independent. Something which is independent is like a sky flower. Is there a sky flower here? Is there a flower in the air? Why not? Because for a flower to be in the air, it should be independent flower. It should not be supported by anything. So this flower is on the table, supported by the table, but dependence on the table. The flower on the table, the flower can be on the table, but cannot be in the air without any support. Why not? Because the flower to be air, it must be supported by something. Supported means dependent on something. So if without dependence on anything, then it becomes like a flower in the air. Right? Non-contingent is like a sky flower. Hence, there is nothing that is not dependent. Such a flower is not possible. Why? Because independent reality is not possible. Everything should be dependent. Everything should be contingent. If things exist through the essence meaning through objective existence. Through the objective existence, their dependence on causes and conditions for the existence is a contradiction. If something exists objectively, if something exists independently, then cause and effect is not possible. Do you agree with me? Okay, this is very important. If something exists independently, then the cause and effect is not possible. You agree with me? Or how? Can somebody explain this very quick? If cause and effect, if something exists independently, then the cause effect is not possible. How? Just raise your hand. Raise your hands. Anyone? If something exists independently, cause and effect, do you agree with me? Cause and effect means the effect must exist by dependence on the cause. You agree with me or not? Good. Cause and effect means there is a dependency, because the effect cannot arise without dependence on the causes. You're getting it? So cause effect means dependent origination. Whereas if it is independent, then cause effect is not possible. You're getting it? Very good. Okay. Stanza 15. Therefore, since no phenomena exists other than origination through dependence, meaning that all phenomena should exist by dependent origination. You're getting it? Okay, now it's going to be a little technical because we're going to do a little technical part. No phenomena exists. So now for you, do you agree that dependent group B, conventional analysis, what you see is dependent origination. Group A, group A, you employ conventional analysis, you are seeing the conventional truth. You are seeing dependent origination. Group B, you are employing the ultimate analysis, you are seeing the emptiness side. So emptiness and dependent origination, is there contradiction? No contradiction. It's just looking at the same object through two different analyses. Right? Both are describing the same object. Whereas say, dependent origination and intrinsic existence, not emptiness of intrinsic existence. Intrinsic existence means opposite of emptiness. Right? Intrinsic existence, objective existence, independent existence mean the same. What's the opposite of dependent origination? Independent existence, right? Independent origination. So if things are not dependent origination, it should be independent origination, independent existence. If it is independent, it is not empty. It is not empty of intrinsic existence. So opposite of emptiness is independent existence. Okay. Stanza 15. Therefore, since no phenomena exists other than origination through dependence, which means that everything is dependent originated. You agree with me or not? Everything is dependent originated. Therefore, everything is empty of intrinsic existence. Everything is empty of independent existence. Very good. No phenomena exists other than being devoid of intrinsic existence. You taught. You taught meaning you, the Buddha, taught. 16. Because intrinsic nature cannot be negated if phenomena possess some intrinsic nature. Okay, now tell me. We read this, we will go to the reflection. Again, we'll read the same stanza. Stanza 16. Because intrinsic nature cannot be negated if phenomena possess some intrinsic nature. If phenomena is something exists independently as opposed to dependently. If something exists independently, then you cannot negate independence, right? You cannot negate. For example, okay, in my hand is the flower? No flower. So if Perila says that, yes, there's a flower there, can you negate it? Can you prove that there's no flower? Huh? Yes, you can. You can prove it. You can prove that there's no flower. Although Lama may say there's no flower there, right? You can, no, that's not true. The flower's not there. When you say that there's no flower, you are negating the presence of the flower. Now, what's in my hand? Flower. Now, can you negate the flower? You cannot, because the flower is there. This is the reality. You cannot negate the reality. Likewise, if, like the flower, intrinsic existence or independent existence is there, then can you negate intrinsic existence? Intrinsic existence and independent existence mean the same. Right? Say if there is intrinsic existence, can you negate the intrinsic existence? You cannot. So it says 16. Because intrinsic nature cannot be negated if phenomena possess some intrinsic nature. You understand it? Now, if things do exist intrinsically, what's the problem? Is there anyone? If things do exist independently, intrinsically, independently, what's the problem? Then, object cannot be dependent origination. If it is not dependent origination, then what's the problem? Then the cause-effect is not possible. If the cause-effect is not possible, then you put effort. You put effort to practice Dharma as a cause, give rise to Nirvana is not possible. Right? So it reads 16. Nirvana would become impossible. You get it? Nirvana would become impossible. And elaborations could not be seized. Okay. Elaborations here. This elaboration here is the elaboration in the form of the the intrinsic existence or independent existence. Elaboration here is elaboration. There are so many, understand the levels, the kinds under the interpretation of elaboration. One here in this context, elaboration is the independent existence or the intrinsic existence. So if it does exist, then you cannot see, elaboration cannot be seized. You cannot see the absence. You cannot see the absence of this, the elaboration, the absence of the true existence. 17. Okay. Now, what we have learned is that group A looks at this object through conventional analysis. You see this as a flower, conventional truth. Group B looks at through ultimate analysis. You see this as emptiness of the flower. You see the ultimate truth. Group A sees the conventional truth. Okay. Now, are you convinced that this is possible? With the two different analysis, you can see the same object in two different ways. You agree? Okay. If somebody comes to challenge you, do you think that person can challenge you? Huh? You're scared? Do you think that somebody can challenge you, say that your perception is wrong? No, that person cannot challenge you. So what you are presenting is the one presented by the Buddha. The Buddha saying that the same object can be seen in two different ways depending on what analysis you use. Right? Now, some others, they come to say that no, things exist independently, things exist truly. They come to challenge the Buddha. They cannot challenge it. Stanza 7. Therefore, who could challenge you? You referring to the Buddha. Who can challenge you? You who proclaim with a lion's roar. Lion's roar, why this analogy is given? Lion's roar is that, say, of the animal, lion is regarded as the king of the wild animals. Right? With the lion's roar, all the animals, they are being scared. Likewise, those people whose view is contradictory to the Buddha's view, the Buddha says this, then others do not have any logical reason to defend their position, right? So they become like so weak. So the Buddha's teaching on emptiness, it becomes like a lion's roar. You who proclaim a lion's roar in the assembly of learned ones, this is the key. This is the key. So say, those people who are intelligent, they listen to the Buddha, they will be so amazed. Right? What you said is so correct. So, in the assembly of the learned ones, repeatedly, that everything is utterly free of intrinsic nature, meaning that nothing exists independently. This is what the Buddha made the proclamation very clearly. 18. That there is no intrinsic existence at all, and that all functions as this arising. Okay, now look, because these two groups, that there is no intrinsic existence at all. Who is saying this? Group A or Group B? Okay. there's no intrinsic existence, there's no independent existence. Things are empty of independent existence. Things are empty of intrinsic existence. Group A is saying this or Group B is saying this? Group B. Very good, don't forget it. Group B doesn't know that it's your group. Stanza 18, that there's no intrinsic existence. Group B should know, oh, this is we. You think that it's somebody else. It's actually you, Group B. And that all functions as this arising and depends on that. Who's saying this? Group A. You're getting it? Group A says that because of the cause, effects arise. Effects arise, but depends on the cause. Group B is not saying this. Group A is saying this. You getting it? These two contradictory or these two are not contradictory? These two are not contradictory. Group B, why Group B is seeing only the emptiness of intrinsic existence is because you employ the ultimate analysis. But why Group A you are seeing the cause-effect relationship? Because you employ the conventional analysis. And you are looking at the same object. You're getting it? Okay. 18. That there's no intrinsic existence at all, Group B, and that all functions as this arising, the effect arising in dependence on that, the cause. This is Group A. Right? What need is there to say that these two converge without conflict? These two don't contradict. These two converge. Converge meaning that these two are talking about the same object. Right? I say that this is, I say that, okay. I say that, okay, this is better. This is better. Okay, I say that Group A says this is a flower. Correct. Group B says that this is emptiness of flower. And Group C, I say that this is electrons, protons, neutrons. All three are correct. There's no contradiction. All three presentations, although superficially seem as different, they all converge to the same point. Okay, tell me, where's the flower? Group A. This one, what is this? Flower. Group B, what is this? Emptiness of the flower. Hey, Group C, what is this? Electrons, protons, neutrons. Correct or correct? All three are correct. They don't contradict. They converge. Okay. 18, that there is no intrinsic existence at all, and that all functions as this arising meaning this effect arising, this result arising in dependence on that meaning the cause. What need is there to say that these two converge? These two meaning cause effect and the emptiness, these two converge. These two meaning cause effect, conventional cause effect, and the emptiness of intrinsic existence, these two converge without conflict. There's no conflict. Whereas for others, they see as conflict. For the Buddha, there's no conflict. Right? Okay. 19. It is through the reason of dependent origination that one does not lean towards extreme. So, by seeing dependent origination, you avoid the two extremes. Right? We did it. We did not do that. Dependent origination is the meaning of the middle way. We did it, not did it. We did it, right? We did it, not did it. We did it. Be louder. Be compassionate. Right? We did it. Then I will just read through. We will finish the text in time. Right? Okay. It is through the reason of dependent origination that one does not lean towards the extreme. If you know dependent origination so well, dependence, it rejects which extreme? Extreme of absolutism, and the origination removes the extreme of nihilism. So, if you understand dependent origination, it will not make you lean towards the extremes. It will make you avoid the extremes. It is through the reason of dependent origination that one does not lean towards the extreme, which means that you will be away from the two extremes. That you, the Savior meaning the Buddha, you save the beings from the wrong view, thus save the beings from samsara, have declared this excellently is the source of your unexcelled speech. Why the Buddha? You are revered as so great and compassionate as a Savior is because you taught the beings how not to fall to the two extremes. Right? Okay, what's the problem if you fall to the extremes? What's the problem? There's a big problem. If you fall to the extreme of nihilism, right, you tend to accumulate very destructive negative karmas. Because if you say that nothing exists, lower karma doesn't exist, then you can behave all corruption, all these bad the actions, negative karmas will be done. If you don't have the conviction and if you say that nothing really exists, right? Good and bad does not exist. Nothing really exists. If you nihilism, you follow nihilism, then you can do all sorts of bad things. Okay. So that will make you to go into hell realm, hungry ghost realm, animal realm, and so forth. Whereas, what is the other extreme? Absolutism. If you follow extreme absolutism, what's the problem? What's the extreme absolutism? Believing that things exist objectively. Things exist solidly. They are not like dream. They are so solidly real. So with this, what's the problem? That you are trapped in samsara. You're getting it? The moment you think that things exist, I exist objectively real, that itself is samsara. There's no samsara as a different place, far away from Singapore. Right? Samsara means the moment our mind grasps at things as objectively real, that itself is samsara. The moment our mind grasps at things objectively real, that is samsara. There's no separate samsara there. So with the absolutism, extreme of absolutism, you are trapped in samsara. With the extreme of nihilism, within samsara you go into lower realms. You go into sickness, aging, death, tension, depression, all these say the suffering. The first of the three sufferings, suffering, you are driven to suffering, all because of the nihilism, falling into nihilism. With falling into absolutism, then you are trapped in samsara. So these are the two problems. 19 again, it is through the reason of dependent origination that one does not lean towards the extreme. So you will not lean towards the extreme, you will be away from the extremes. If you are away from the extremes, then you will be away from samsara and away from the falling into lower realms. Right? What's the problem with nihilism? What's the problem with nihilism? You experience suffering such as the three lower realms. What's the problem of falling into absolutism? You're trapped in samsara. You're getting it? Okay. So this is what is happening. That you, the Savior, have declared this excellently is the source of your unexcelled speech. 20. All of this is devoid of essence. Essence here is the independent existence. And from this arises that effect. Okay, all of this is devoid of essence. Who's saying this? Group A or Group B? Again, the Group B, they are lost. Who's saying this? Right? Group B, right? Group B, they are asking, who's saying this? All of this devoid of essence. Who's saying this? Group A or Group B? Hey, Group B, what are you saying? All of this is devoid of essence. Essence meaning? Intrinsic existence, objective existence. You're getting it? You are saying this. And from this arises that effect. From this cause arises that effect. Who's saying this? Group A, very good, I'm happy. Okay. And from this arises that effect. These two certainties, these two realities, certainties meaning these two are the facts. These two facts, they don't contradict, they complement each other. These two facts or the certainties complement each other with no contradiction at all. You agree with this? Very good. Okay. 21. What is more amazing than this? What is more marvelous than this? If one praises you, the Buddha, in this manner, this is real praise. Otherwise not. Right? Okay. Say, if you are, say, okay, there are many stanzas left. Right? Okay. Okay, let's say. Okay, let's say. Okay, there's some young boys are there. Let's say that. Okay, say you are teaching say political science. Say you are the professor of political science. You are teaching political science, and then say suddenly you end up in a classroom where somebody is teaching physics, quantum physics. Right? Are you interested or not interested? Not really interested. right? Not really. Whereas if there's somebody who is world-renowned, say world-renowned scholar in political science and giving lecture in another hall, and there's a world-renowned Albert Einstein giving, say, the relativity theory, teaching on relativity theory in this hall, and then there's another professor, world-renowned professor in the political science teaching another hall. Which of the two halls you will go? You are somebody who is teaching a professor in political science. Where will you go? Both these two professors, they are so good, world-renowned, both. Where will you go? If you go to Albert Einstein, which means you are not so committed person. If you're a very committed person, you will go to the other, because your interests. Because for you, political science is more important than physics. You're getting it? And who are you? Are you interested in samsara or nirvana? Nirvana. So which means any teaching on nirvana, that is the most excellent teaching. Right? Teaching to do with samsara is nothing. So for you, who's the unexcelled teacher? The one who teaches about nirvana. The one who teaches about the achieving total enlightenment. Okay, 21. What is more amazing than this? Meaning that you are so amazing. You're the Buddha Shakyamuni. You are so amazing. Because you taught emptiness and dependent origination. These two don't contradict. Right? It's not that you have to believe in it. It's not the blind belief. It is how we, even here, just in 3 days, you already got it. You're getting it, group A and group B. In 3 days. You don't have to believe in it. You don't have to just believe, okay, the Buddha said it must be correct. No. Right? The moment who is this group? Right? Sometimes you forget it. Otherwise, you say, yes, it's group A, group B. You could rightly pinpoint that. Okay. So that is, who taught this? Amazing Buddha. That is a real amazing. What is more amazing than this? What is more marvelous than this? If one praises you, praises the Buddha in this manner, for you having taught these two, they say the two realities, conversion to the ultimate truth, in this manner, this is a real praise, otherwise not. Right? Why? Because this praise, the subject matter is the two truths. With the reality and two truths, you can get rid of all the fears and you can enhance all the good qualities. Right? So this is what the Buddha Shakyamuni taught. This is real praise. Otherwise, oh Buddha Shakyamuni, you are great because you flew in the sky, you perform miracles. Right? Oh, yes, that's amazing. But for you, for us, this is totally unrelated. Whether the Buddha flew or whether the Buddha performed miracles, right? For us, it does not have any benefit. Only those teachings, how to subject the miseries to ultimate analysis and see that your miseries dissolve. This is directly relevant to us. Right? Okay. 22. Being enslaved by ignorance, those who fiercely oppose you. What is so astonishing about their being unable to bear the sound of intrinsic existence? Okay. Now the 22, stanza 22 is, say, the contemporary teachers who believe in intrinsic existence. Those teachers who are contemporary with Buddha Shakyamuni, who diverge with the Buddha Shakyamuni's view, who believe in intrinsic existence. And 23 is about the Buddhist followers of the Buddha, but who within Buddhist philosophy, there are 4 schools. You know that? What are they? Vaibhashika, Sautantrika, Chittamatra, Madhyamika, right? 4. And within Madhyamika, there are 2. What are they? Swatantra Madhyamika, Prasanga Madhyamika. Very good. Okay, those who are new, don't feel demoralized. How come that they already know that? He did not say anything. He did not teach this. They already know this. Don't feel demoralized because they studied for the last many years. All right? Okay, so those who are new, don't feel demoralized. In 3 days, if you expect it, it's too much. Right? But amazing, you are doing it's a great progress just within 3 days. And that too not full 3 days. It's just 4 hours, right? In 4 hours, it's amazing. Okay. So, 22. Being enslaved by ignorance, meaning ignorance of viewing things as objective real, viewing self-grasping ignorance. Seeing things, what is self-grasping ignorance? Ignorance which views things as independently real, which views things as intrinsically real. This is self-grasping ignorance. Being enslaved by ignorance, those who fiercely oppose you, You, the Buddha, you taught that nothing exists intrinsically, and those people say that things exist intrinsically, so they oppose you. What is so astonishing about their being unable to bear the sound of no intrinsic existence? So when the Buddha said that nothing exists intrinsically, who said this? Who's saying this? Who's saying this?
B.
Nothing exists intrinsically.
B.
Group B, right? Group B says this, the Buddha said it, Group B says this. So this, the Buddha said nothing exists intrinsically. Those people who believe that, of course, everything exists intrinsically. So even if they oppose the Buddha, author is saying that, okay, this is so obvious, it's very natural. But those who believe in the Buddha and still does not agree with the Buddha teaching emptiness of intrinsic existence, on the one hand, Buddha, you are the fully enlightened one, right? Or the four schools. By Bhashika, Sautanta, Chittamantra, these four schools, these three schools, and then within the Madhyamika, Svatanta Madhyamika, except for Prasangika. Rest of the Buddhist schools, they all say, Buddha, you are the greatest, you are the fully awakened one. And then Buddha, when the Buddha said, there's no intrinsic existence, then they say, are you sure? All right? Okay, so this, the author, Lama Tsongkhapa, is saying that this is very strange. On the one hand, you follow the Buddha. On the other hand, you don't agree with the Buddha's final teaching. What's the final teaching of Buddha? That nothing exists. Hey, Group B. That nothing exists intrinsically or nothing exists independently. This is a final teaching. And on the one hand, lower schools, they said that we are following the Buddha. On the other hand, you don't agree with the Buddha's final teaching. This is a contradiction. This is what the author says. This is very strange. Okay, 22. Being enslaved by ignorance, those who fiercely oppose you, what is so astonishing about their being unable to bear the sound of intrinsic existence? Now, 23, which is the lower Buddhist schools. But having accepted dependent origination, who accepts dependent origination? All the Buddhist schools. All the Buddhist schools, and particularly the lower schools, they accept dependent origination, but they don't accept the emptiness of intrinsic existence. The precious treasure of his speech. On one hand, these lower schools, they accept dependent origination, which is the very precious treasure of the Buddha's speech. Then, on the other hand, not tolerating the roar of emptiness. Roar of emptiness meaning that the Buddha taught emptiness so, say, the skillfully and with the confidence the Buddha taught this. It's like the roar of the lion. And then the other followers of Buddha, is this true? That nothing exists truly? Okay. So this is the not tolerating the roar of emptiness. This I find amazing indeed. 24. The door that leads to, okay, so why? So why the author says that the lower schools, when you say that you accept dependent origination, at the same time you don't accept emptiness of intrinsic existence, right? Okay, and yet not accepting the emptiness of intrinsic existence. So finally, what really liberates us from suffering? What really liberates us from suffering? Tell me. The wisdom of emptiness. So with the wisdom of emptiness, how will it come to you? By praying to the Buddha, Buddha, please give me the wisdom of emptiness. Or study dependent origination. Study dependent origination. Dependent origination is the gateway. For example, if you want to go out, right? Where should we go? If you want to go to the sing line, what do you call it? Sing line or line sing? Malayan. If you want to go to Malayan from this hall, how would you go? Through the door. That is the entrance. This is the only entrance. Right? Don't jump from the window. Right? So that door is the only entrance. There's only entrance to go to Malayan. You getting it? Likewise to Nirvana. No, Nirvana, you have to get the wisdom of emptiness. To get the wisdom of emptiness, the only door to get to the wisdom of emptiness is the dependent origination. And you are there to the door and you don't enter. What's the point? You already accept dependent origination, then you don't enter into the wisdom of emptiness. This is contradiction. You're getting it? Okay. 24. The door that leads to no intrinsic existence, that leads to emptiness of intrinsic existence. This unexcelled door of dependent origin. What is that door? What is that door? A door of dependent origination to get into what? To get into the wisdom of emptiness. You're getting it? This door to get to the wisdom of emptiness, you already get to the door and then you don't enter. What's the point? The door that leads to no intrinsic existence, this unexcelled door of dependent origination, through its name alone, if one grasps at the intrinsic existence, just get hold of the door and then you say, you get out, you are into the emptiness, you get in, this is intrinsic existence. And the door from the intrinsic existence to the emptiness, what is that door? Door of dependent origination. And you hold on the door and then always step inside the intrinsic existence. You're getting it? Holding the door to get to emptiness, you don't go there, you put your body inside intrinsic existence. This is contradictory. Okay. The door that leads to no intrinsic existence, the unexcelled door of dependent origination, through its name alone, meaning, say, just accepting dependent origination, then finally what you do is that you grasp at intrinsic, you stay in the believing in intrinsic existence. You don't go into emptiness. Who are they? Who are these people? Group A and B both. No, Group A and B, they are wonderful people. Group A is seeing the conventional truth. Group B is seeing the emptiness. 3 schools, lower schools, except for Prasangika. Highest Buddhist school, keep that aside. All the other Buddhist schools, they fall into this mistake. Okay. Through its name alone, if one grasps the intrinsic existence, now this person, 3 name alone meaning you accept dependent origin and you also accept intrinsic existence. This person who lacks the unraveled entrance, which means that this person does not really have the entrance, right? Does not really have the entrance. Although the entrance, you accept dependent origination, but this does not serve the entrance. What is the purpose of entrance? To get to the emptiness. You are not getting there. Who lacks the entrance, well traveled by the noble ones. All the Buddhas of the past, they traveled through this door towards the wisdom of emptiness to Buddhahood. Well traveled by the noble ones meaning Arya beings, all the enlightened beings. By what means should one guide him to the excellent path that pleases you? Okay, you take the medicine and the medicine turns into poison. Right? You have an illness and for that you take the medicine. And this medicine actually makes the illness worse. So what can you do now? Right? Beat. We can't do anything now. There's no option. So, what is the way to emptiness? Dependent origination. You accept the dependent origination and accept intrinsic existence, then nobody can help you. You're getting it? It's like taking the medicine and medicine becomes poison. Okay, so it says, 25. Who lacks the unraveled entrance, well traveled by the noble ones. By what means should one guide him? In what way we can guide this person now? Nobody can guide him to the excellent path that pleases you. What is that excellent path? The wisdom of emptiness. Because only way by which to get to the wisdom of emptiness is the dependent origination. They already accept dependent origination and not ready to go to wisdom of emptiness. So there's no other option to take to the path excellent that pleases you, the Buddha. 26. Intrinsic nature. Okay, now, what's the difference between the intrinsic? What's the problem with this? If you accept dependent origination and also you accept intrinsic existence, who do that? Lower schools. They accept dependent origination, they also accept intrinsic existence. What's the problem? They are into a contradiction. What contradiction? It says 26. Intrinsic nature. What is intrinsic nature? Intrinsic nature means uncreated. Uncreated meaning something which is independently there, not created by causes conditions, uncreated. Non-contingent. Non-contingent means independent, not dependent. Independent. This one side. Now on the other hand, dependent origination. What is dependent origination? Dependent origination is contingent, something which is dependent, cause-effect dependency, and created. Created meaning something which a cause can give rise to create the effects. So these two are contradictory or not? Say, okay, so on the one hand we have the intrinsic existence which is uncreated, non-contingent. On the other hand, dependent origination, which is created, which is contingent. Are these two philosophies contradictory or not contradictory? Yes, anybody who accepts these two things together, that person is lost in contradiction. Right? Whereas in your case, group A and group B, it's not like this. What you accept is dependent origination. What you accept is emptiness of intrinsic existence. Whereas the lower schools, they accept the opposite. They accept dependent origination, they accept the intrinsic existence. Then the contradiction is there. Okay. 26. Intrinsic nature. What is intrinsic nature? Uncreated and non-conditioned. Now, line 2. What is dependent origination? This is contingent and the created. Are these two contradictory or not? Contradictory. How can these two converge upon a single basis without a contradiction? These two are contradictions. So all the Buddhist schools, lower schools other than Prasangika, they are trapped in contradiction. 27. Therefore, whatever originates dependently, though primordially free of intrinsic existence, appears as if it does possess intrinsic existence. So you taught all these to be illusion-like. Okay, now tell me, say, when each one of us, okay, just raise your hands. Those who have, okay, we have only 8 minutes more. Okay, so instead of rushing through, I'll explain the stanza. And then the people do a little bit of, say, I have some end the talks to share with you, right? That would be more helpful. Okay. And then maybe the TPC teaching the next 2 days, in case if we get time, then we'll complete this text, right? So there's an auspicious sign of ABC, TPC coming together. Yeah, okay. Okay, let's say that, okay, very quickly, look at the other person sitting next to you. Quickly look at the other person sitting, don't look at me. It's not that, is that two persons can look at the same person also, that's not a problem. Just look at the person very quickly, we don't have time. Look at the other person, very quickly. Look at the other person. Okay, I did not ask you to smile. I just asked you to look at the other person. Okay, look at the other person. Okay, still you are looking, still you are smiling. Never mind, it doesn't matter. Okay, don't forget how the other person appeared to you. That made you to smile. Don't forget it. Don't forget how the other person appeared to you, that made you smile. Don't forget it. Okay. Are you doing it? Do you have this person still in your mind? Good. Now don't look at the other person. Close your eyes and think of the same person who made you smile. Think of the same person. Okay. I'm happy that nobody is smiling now. Right? You are thinking of the same person figure, the same figure of the same person came to your mind, but you're not smiling. If you smile, something's wrong, and it's time for you to go to mental hospital. You're getting it? Okay, now tell me, why in the first case you smiled? You tried to control your smile, still you could not control a smile, you have to smile. Second case, when you close the eyes, think of the same person, you did not smile. Why? Give me an answer. Very quick, raise hands. Huh? In the first case, you see it as said the person is so real. In the second case, you know that it's not real, it's just your imagination. Just an image. You're getting it? Image is coming from your mind or coming from the object? Oh, so when you see the other person that made you smile, you see the other person coming from the object. When you imagine this, you know that it's coming from your mind, not from the object. You know that. The moment you know that it's coming from your mind, the smile stops. The moment you see that it's coming from object, it made you smile or it made you very angry. Right? So, if that is undesirable, it makes you upset. If it is desirable, it makes you smile. Whereas desirable, undesirable, in both cases, if coming from your mind, you would not smile, you would not show anger. You're getting it? So when you know that it's coming from your mind, your emotional turbulence stops. Your emotional turbulence stops. When you see this from the object, then you become like say the puppet. The object decides whether you smile or not smile, right? When you look at me, you don't smile, but the moment you look at the other person, you start smiling, right? So that object decides whether you smile or not smile. The object decides. We become like a puppet. We don't have the freedom. We don't have the freedom to control the emotion. Object decides for you. If you don't have the freedom, that is loss of freedom. You agree with me? If you don't have the freedom for you to smile, not smile, then you have the loss of freedom. Loss of freedom is misery. You agree with me or not? This is the real meaning of the misery, is the loss of freedom. Real meaning of misery is the loss of freedom. Right? Okay. So, the moment you see that it's coming from your subject, the mental turbulence, loss of freedom starts. The moment you see things coming from the object, mental turbulence arises. That is a loss of freedom. So loss of freedom arises the moment you see things objectively real. So self-grasping ignorance makes you to have the turbulence of the emotions. So with the wisdom of emptiness, the turbulence of emotion stops. Now because that wisdom of emptiness is to see things that nothing really exists from the object, but things exist from the subject, mind. So illusion. What's the difference between illusory flower and this flower? What's the difference between these two things? Okay, one exists and the other one? Okay, illusory flower does not exist. Hey, dream flower, does it exist or not? Huh? Dream flower, does it exist or not? Dream flower, is it a real flower? Dream flower, is it a dream flower? Hey. Dream flower is not a real dream flower. Wow, that may be a highly realized being. Okay, dream flower, is it a flower? No. Dream flower, is it a dream flower? Yes. Dream flower, although it does not exist as a real flower, but it exists as a dream flower. It exists as a dream flower or image. It exists as a dream flower. So therefore it does exist, although it does not exist as a real flower. You getting it? So now this flower in my right hand, okay, left hand, okay, this flower in my left hand, and what is in my right hand? Dream flower. Oh, Singaporeans is amazing. You are not sleeping, still you have a dream flower. It's amazing. Okay, in my right hand, what is there? Nothing's there. Okay, imagine a flower. Imagine a blue flower. In my left hand is a pink flower. In my right hand is blue flower there. Wow, in Singapore, something is there. It's strange. Imaginary blue flowers there. Don't say blue flowers there. If you say blue flowers there, people outside may think that he's a magician. Right? There's an imaginary blue flower. In my left hand is a pink flower. In the right hand is an imaginary blue flower. Tell me, what's the difference between these two things? The pink flower and the imaginary blue flower, what's the difference? There are so many differences. Just pick your mind. Raise your hands, quick. Yes, he says. One is real and one is not real. Any other explanation very quick? One can be seen by eye consciousness and other cannot be seen by eye consciousness. Very good. Anyone else? One has a substance, other doesn't have a substance. Very good. Anyone else? Very quick. Very good. Thank you. This is what I'm looking for. All the answers are correct, but this is the answer that I'm looking for. One is from the object, one is from the subject, from the mind. What is coming from the mind, we call it as imaginary. What is coming from the mind, we call it as a dream. Yes? Dream exists from the subject or from the object? Dream. Subject. So what comes from the subject, we call it dream. What comes from the subject is known as illusion. Right? Illusion. So the Buddha said that everything exists from this subject. So therefore, everything is like illusion. Everything is not illusion. Everything is like illusion. Do you getting it? We have to make the distinction between illusion-like and illusion. The difference is, if you say everything is illusion, you are going to nihilism. So therefore, what we have to say is that everything is like illusion. In what way everything is like illusion? Just as the illusion is coming from the subject, everything is coming from the subject. You getting it? Okay. Stanza 27. Therefore, whatever originates dependently, though primordially free from intrinsic existence, meaning that nothing exists intrinsically, primordially, since beginningless time, appears, yet they don't exist intrinsically, but they appear as if it does possess intrinsic real. Okay, when you look at this, when you look at this flower, how does this flower appear to you? As from the object or from your mind? How does it appear to you? From the object. Although it does not exist objectively, but it appears objectively real. So the illusion. In the dream, why are you scared of the dream ghost? Why? Because you saw that as objectively real. You getting it? When you see this objectively real, then the fear comes. The moment you wake up, you realize that it is not objectively real. It is empty of objective existence. It exists subjectively. The moment you realize that it exists subjectively, the fear dissolves. The moment you see it as objectively real, then the fear arises. You're getting it? All our tension, stress, because of the deadlines, and the seeking, to promotion, not getting a promotion, seeking a better job, not getting a better job, and so forth. All these problems, somehow, just observe how does the self appear during that, when the tension arises. When the tension builds up in you, how does the self arise? How does self appear to you? As so solidified. How does the other person who is related to your job, the boss, your boss, who decides the promotion and so forth, how does the other person appear? As so objectively real, right? This is how the self-grasping ignorance is so vicious in two ways. One, the self-grasping ignorance creates the initial trigger of the arrow, initial pull of the arrow, and releasing arrow is done by the self-grasping ignorance. Arrow shooting is like the effect of the karma, right? You pull the arrow, release it, then what will happen? Arrow will fly in the air. Finally, it will hit the target. You getting it? Hitting a target is ripening the painful results. Hitting the target. And the arrow flying in the air is like the karmic operation operating. Karma of the arrow is operating, is in process of operation, and finally when it hits the target, it ripens the effect of the pain in us. You getting it? So, who first released the arrow? Self-grasping ignorance, right? And then finally, when the arrow hits the body, you feel the pain. When actually we feel the pain, again the self-grasping ignorance makes you to feel it as painful. If the self-grasping ignorance is not there, you will not feel the pain. Don't forget it. Although the arrow hits you, but mental pain will not be there in you if the self-grasping ignorance is not there. Seeing the pain is objectively real, that makes the pain. You're getting it? This is so important. So therefore, finally the point is to get rid of all the fears, the pains, the miseries and so forth. And that can most effectively, most efficaciously be done by the wisdom of emptiness, to see things as all coming from the mind, to see everything is like a illusion, not illusion. Everything's like illusion, right? Okay. So, what's the difference between illusion and illusion-like? This is one thing that I'd like you to share with me. What's the difference between illusion and the illusion-like? What's the difference? Everything is not illusion. Everything is illusion-like. Any distinction that you would like to make? Okay, the illusion does not really have the proper basis of designation, and the labeling is inappropriately done, whereas the illusion-like has the proper basis of designation, and the labeling is correct. Very good. Anyone else? How would you distinguish between illusion and illusion-like? Very good. For the illusion does not have to follow cause and effect. They can defy cause and effect. But everything is not illusion. Everything is illusion-like. So they follow cause and effect. What follows cause and effect is illusion-like. It is not illusion. Illusion does not follow cause and effect. This is the distinction. Very good. Okay, two distinctions are made. Don't forget this. Okay, now there's no point in rushing through. I will I'll share with you the few points. Okay, one. So with all these things, finally, Group A may be wondering how Group B in just 3 days, not even 3 days. It's like in 4 hours, they're able to have the ultimate analysis. Finally, the whole purpose of the Buddha is giving teachings. And the Buddha remained silent, the Buddha remained silent for how many days after becoming enlightened? 49 days Buddha did not give teachings. Right? For 9 days Buddha did not give teaching. And for you, it's just in 3 days you get everything. Right? So Buddha did not teach. Why? The Buddha said that this topic is so complicated that I don't see anybody who can understand this. And in Singapore, there are so many people. Right? Understand it? Okay, so the point is that now Group A must be wondering how Group B, they are giving all the answers correctly. Ultimate analysis, right? So how come that in just 3 days they're able to have the ultimate analysis? Once you have the ultimate analysis, then you can subject all the suffering to ultimate analysis, and then you can dissolve your suffering, right? How come that they're able to have this ultimate analysis? Hey, Group B, what do you have? Which analysis do you have, Group B? Wow, how did you get it? And then Group A, Group B may be wondering, Group A, all the good qualities are growing in them because of the convention analysis, right? All the good qualities are growing in them. Amazing. How come that in 3 days they have the convention analysis? Okay, so these two things, the point is, how can we have the ultimate analysis so that right from today we can practice something. We can practice something so that I can subject the suffering to the ultimate analysis, right? And that the suffering dissolves. Okay, how many of you are interested in this? Huh? Okay, there are so many hands coming up. Okay, let's say to make it very quick, the real answer to this is that, say in the ABC, TBC, in both cases, you have the teaching programs there, right? 3 days teaching, this is more like a trailer, right? I mean, it's like a trailer. The real thing that can actually help you is, say, the various teaching modules that you have, the 2 centers you have. Those are the real things. And you may think that, what is this? The logic, Buddhist psychology, sense consciousness, mental consciousness, how many classes of the sense consciousness there are? 5, mental consciousness, how many classes there are? Self-cognizant mind, these things. It has nothing to do with the ultimate analysis. But these studies, they become like the bedrock for you. Later on, you read any book because of these studies, which you think initially as something unrelated to my practice. They are so dry, intellectual. With these, you study any the practice manuals, read them, and particularly the incredibly brilliant texts written by Lama Tsongkhapa, Arjuna, Acharya Chandragiri, and so forth. You read them, they will make sense to you only if you go through these studies that are provided by the 2 centers. So these studies are so precious. Don't ever underestimate that. Okay, in just 3 days we got so many things. Right? And then all these modules for the last many years, right? I've been studying about what? The tenet system, Vaibhashika, and these things, I didn't get anything. Don't think like this. These are the real things that will make all these teachings of the Buddha extremely, say, the profound to us. Okay, now with this the question arises that for us, okay, say some people, they say that our life is so short. So how to practice emptiness? If we go through all the modules, right? Then the emptiness will come after 10 years, right? So then so these models are so precious. Don't try to go for shortcut. Whatever you're doing, continue doing this. Both centers, one. Number two, meanwhile, also be little ambitious. Don't be over ambitious. Don't be over ambitious by just bypassing all these studies. Don't do that, right? Little ambitious meaning that while you're doing these studies in the two centers, meanwhile, see how to practice emptiness on a daily basis. On a daily basis, right? That is very important. For that matter, I'd like to share with you very quickly the 4 points. 4 points for emptiness meditation on a daily basis. And when you are in the MRT, also you can meditate on emptiness, right? Then say where in a workplace, when the work is not so under pressure, you are still in front of the desktop, and then instead of going for what is that? There's the game. What is that game? All these games. Instead of that, do this 4-point meditation, right? In a metro, do this meditation. In metro, mini MRT, do this meditation. And then during relaxed time, do this. And then before you go to bed, spend like 2 minutes, if not 10 minutes, 2 minutes, these 4 points. If possible, when you wake up, when you do this, the stanza, like say, enthused by great compassion, you taught immaculate dharma. When you do this, you reflect on these 4 points. You getting it? Just see if you can reflect on these 4 points in your, on a daily basis, as much as possible. If not, at least once a day. Can you do that? 4 points, I promise it will not take more than 2 minutes. Can you do that? At least once a day. I'm not saying that do it like 1 hour a day. Once a day, 2 minutes, can you do it? Hey, you want to do it? You want to get rid of the fears? Yes, no? Huh? You want to get rid of the distress, tension? And Singaporeans, when 80% of the Singaporeans, when they meet me, they say, Singaporean life is so stressful. Right? 80%, 80, 90% you say this. Right? If you're really stressful, do you want to get rid of the stress? Louder. Yes. Okay. So, 4 points. 4 points. Number one. Right? Number one, just contemplate. I wouldn't use this word, I would say, reflect on the self. Who am I? What is this self? Reflect on the self. Point one. Just reflect on the self. Point one. Point two. Acknowledge that this self is nothing but made of 6 elements. Element earth, water, fire, air, space, and consciousness. 6 elements. What we learned yesterday, 2 days ago, this flower is nothing but made of millions of atoms. This water is nothing made of electrons, protons, neutrons. You said this. Likewise, this self is nothing but made of 6 elements. The body that we have, solid part that we have, for example, heart, lungs, the bones, and the what do you call it? The spleen, the intestine, and so forth. These form the element of earth. The blood which is pumped in and out by the heart to different parts of the body, that is the element of water. Then the air that you breathe in out, that is the element of air. And then the body heat is the element of fire. And then the space in a body, that's the element of space. And finally, the mind that we have is the element of consciousness. And none of these 6 is the person. Don't forget it. Okay, point number one, just reflect on the self, what the self is like. Who am I? I am Dorji, right? I am, okay, let's say, I am I'm Nick. Okay, so I'm Perry, I'm Sonam, like this, okay. Then this point number 2, this self, go deeper. When you look at the self, you are actually looking at the self through the conventional analysis, how group A is looking at it. Now you look at how group B is looking at it. You go into the 6 elements, ultimate analysis. Right? You look at the 6 elements. Point number 1 is the self. Point number 2 is the 6 elements. You go to 6 elements. With the 6 elements, that I'm a boy, that I'm a girl, is simply because of the body. And my body is not me. You're getting it? My body is not me. You remove the body, what is left? My mind is left. My mind does not have gender. Mind is not a girl, mind is not a boy. Girlness or boyness is determined on the basis of the body. The mind does not have a gender. And even the mind is also not me. I'm a girl, I'm a boy. That is on the basis of the body, not the mind. So therefore mind is also not me. Remove the mind. What is left? Nothing is left there. You're getting it? Okay, point number 1, self. Point number 2, 6 elements. Now, point number 3, 2 questions. Point number 3, 2 questions. Point number 3 consists of 2 questions. What are the 2 questions? First one is, what are you seeing now? I'm seeing the 6 elements. First question, what are you seeing? I'm seeing the 6 elements. Second question, where is this self? Where is this Dorji? He's not there. He's empty. He disappears. He's empty. Second question, right? Stay in this experience that he is empty, that she is empty. Stay in this experience. Okay. Stay in this experience. When you get a glimpse of this, that she is not really there. None of the 6 elements is Dorji. None of the 6 elements is this girl, right? When you really feel this, you may have goosebumps on your body, right? A tickling sensation may flow in your body. You may feel a very tranquil, the experience of the tranquility may be felt within you. And in some cases, a tinge of a fear can come in you. If a tinge of a fear comes in you, don't be afraid. Tinge of fear comes in you, this is not a bad omen. You are a very, very fortunate person. A tinge of fear comes to you, you continue this practice, slowly this tinge of fear will be replaced by incredibly profound joy. Whereas, a warning is given, if the fear is excruciatingly painful, if the fear is excruciating, you cannot bear it, stop the meditation and consult the teachers around. And if the people around, they said that you are going crazy, don't worry, write to me. Right? Don't worry, write to me. Okay. Right? If you really have, so this will happen only to 1 out of 1 million. So in most likelihood, you are not the 1 out of 1 million. Right? Okay, just do this. Okay. That's point number 3. Stay in this experience, and if you get goosebumps, you get a tinge of fear and so forth, it's amazingly auspicious. But when you get this wonderful experience, don't think that I've got emptiness. This can be a spark of the emptiness, not the real experience of them. It's not the bonfire of emptiness. It's just a spark. Right? From this, you have to journey more through more extensive studies and more reflections. You're getting it? So from this, whatever you were learning from true centers proved to be so precious, so precious. This experience will become deeper, deeper, and deeper. Okay, how many points done? 3 points done. Now point 4. Okay, from this then what you do is that, okay, from this experience, then you come out. You come out, okay, now again the Dorji comes back. I come back. So, earlier, with point number 3, you are 100% sure that the Dorji, the self, this I, does not exist objectively. It disappeared. When you go to the object, it disappears. Which means that it's not there in the object. But again, it comes back. Which means that it's just appearance is coming back. Appearance. Appearance is what? Subject or the object? Subject. So therefore, this I which is coming back, this is just like, is subject. Subject, like illusion. Like illusion. Illusion is just the appearance. So therefore, this I is like an illusion. Even the people around me, they're also like illusion. You're getting it? Everything's like illusion. Within this illusion, then within this illusion lying, all this world is operating. Good things done, illusion like good things done, illusion like happiness follow. Illusion like bad things done, illusion like pains arise. You getting it? Okay, so this infallible cause and effect, you start operating where? On the illusion-like nature, just on the subjective level. Okay, with this, we will quickly do the 4 points as a very auspicious indication. We'll do this. Okay, now, we're ready? Okay, we'll do this. And then the way I'm going to explain to you is very simple. The way I explain to you, you try to do it. It will not take you, I promise. If you want to do it very quick, not more than 2 minutes. If you want to do it a little more detailed, it'll take you like 5 minutes or 4 minutes. Right? And this is worth doing it. Finally, we'll come to realize that if you are very successful in this practice, believe it or not, over time, you will see that your fear, anxiety, stress, the level of the stress, anxiety, they all go down on its own. Don't expect this happening within a week, right? Effects will be felt a little over time. This will be felt. Okay, ready? Okay, sit upright in a relaxed state, and your hands on your, say, the tips of the thumbs joining, forming triangle. Place the 2 hands on the laps in a restful state. Okay, relax and say, take 3 deep breaths. Just for the time being, for the next 3-4 minutes, just ignore everything, forget everything, right? However urgent the works they may be, deadlines and so forth, just ignore all these things. This 3 minutes is your lifelong, say, the panacea, lifelong panacea to heal all your miseries. This is so precious. In fact, to be very honest, there's nothing more precious than this practice and the bodhicitta practice. Okay, with this in mind, just empty your mind, ignore everything else, just stay in this experience. After taking the 3 breaths, just sit calm and peaceful. And if the need be, you instead of 3, you can do like 7 deep breaths. Just relax your mind, relax your being. Okay, 4 points. Point 1, the self. How does this self appear? This self, this I, which is this center of the world, center of the universe. Say this experience. Now you subject this self to ultimate analysis. Go deeper into the self to see the 6 elements. Element earth, the skin, the fatty tissues inside, the muscles, the cartilages, the bones, the heart, the lungs, spleen, intestine, gallbladder. All these solid parts, they constitute the element of earth. That is not a me. Keep this aside. Element of water, the blood which is pumped in and out by the heart to different parts of the body, that is also not me 100%. That is also me. Keep that aside. You're only looking for the self which is object real. Then the element of fire, the body heat. Of course, the body heat is not me. Body heat increases and decreases, but I don't increase, I don't decrease. Even there is also, keep that aside. Element of air, the air that I breathe in and out, of course, that is not me. Keep that aside. Element space. I'm solid person. I'm solid in nature. Space is vacuum in nature. Even the space that constitutes the major part of my body is also not me. Keep that aside. What is left now? Only the element of mind, element of consciousness is left. This consciousness. Even that is also not me. I'm a male. I'm a female. But this consciousness doesn't have a gender. Gender is posited on the basis of the body. So therefore, even this consciousness is also not me. And on top of that, people can see me. People cannot see my consciousness. People cannot see my mind. So therefore, even this consciousness is also not me. Keep that aside. Okay, now from this we see that just besides the 6 elements, there's nothing there as a self. Point number 2 done. Point number 3, 2 questions. What are you seeing now? I'm just seeing the 6 elements. Second question. Where is the self? Amidst the six elements, where is the self? Not at all. Self is just disappears, it's empty. Stay in this experience. Besides these six elements, none of which is the self is not really there. It's just empty. Stay there in this experience. Literally, the self is not there. You have gone too close to the object and it's empty there. The self disappears. And this is a fact that we discovered. Stay in this experience for a while. Okay, slowly come out of this meditation. Point number 4. Again the self comes back. So this self is just appearance. Earlier I saw objectively nothing's there, the self disappears. Now the self comes back, which means it cannot come back from the object, it comes back from this subject. Subject means it's just appearance. That is purely subjective. What is purely subjective is known as illusion, is known as illusion-like. So therefore this self is like illusion. So this is how I should be able to operate in the world. In illusion-like nature, everything is operating. I'm operating, cause and effects operating. Okay. In this spirit, then you can go to your job, right? Okay, good. Thank you. Any questions? Maybe 1 or 2 questions. 1 or 2 questions? Okay, there's no mic. Raise your hands. Just 1 or 2 questions, not more. Okay. Yes.
I just want to ask, when we are meditating on emptiness, sometimes when we reflect deeper and then when we think like, let's say like the self disappears, and then we think about the self being an aggregate of the different parts, and even the parts also disappear, and we feel a sense of like unease or like unsure of what to do. So can you give us some guidance?
Okay, so this is, I would say that this would be the last question. So those of you who still have pressing questions, we still have 2 more days in TBC. TBC, right?
Yes.
In TBC? Yeah. Tomorrow, you can make the announcement a little later. Okay, so you have pressing questions, feel free to come there. And otherwise, you can also contact me, right? Say to my email address, which TBC will be happy to provide you. Right? Okay, you can contact me for your questions. So this question, we'll do this question. Say the point is that when we see that this self is nothing but made of the 5 aggregates, and even the aggregates also, they're also made of electrons, protons, and neutrons. Physical body, for example, right? And even atoms also disappear. They're also made of further. Then we have nothing to hold on to. So under such situation, what should we do? Okay, this is a very serious question, and feeling of unease can come, right? And oftentimes a fear can come. Okay, under such situation, say, don't forget the stanza said by Aranagarjuna, right? Okay, anyone who is familiar with this, not the mirage, the amazing of amazing, this stanza. This compilation of on the emptiness, it is there. Okay, page 214. Okay, page 216. The blue book, page 216. Red book, I'm not too sure. Can you locate it? Red book? Nick, you can give it to me. I'll show that to you. Okay, this stanza is very important. Okay. Okay, page 205, the red book, page 205, the last stanza. And the blue book, page 216, it reads, by entering into emptiness, but, oh no, sorry, what am I reading? Okay, page 218, the blue one, page 218, blue one, page 218, say the stanza is on the neck, the blue, the red one, the stanza reads from those who understand, those who understand, those in this emptiness of all phenomena. Here also, what is that stanza, page number? 205. 205, okay, the red one, page 205, blue one, 218. Those who understand this emptiness of all phenomena, yet also conform to the law of karma and its results. So when you see emptiness, and then law of karma, yes, law of karma is infallibly correct, infallibly efficacious. This is so efficacious. Law of karma holds true. Emptiness holds true. This, the congruency, that you see the compatibility of the two. Right? That's a mark of you have understood it. So therefore, we see that you make a distinction between illusion and illusion-like. What I'm seeing, nothing really is there. I cannot find anything, right? So what is it? So therefore, everything is illusion-like. Yet illusion-like, cause-effect is operating precisely, right? So this is what we have to reflect on, right? Okay. And should you have more questions, feel free to write to me. My email address is dordam@gmail.com. 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 Right? Okay. Dorji Damdul, short form, dordam@gmail.com. Any question that you might have, feel free to write to me. Right? Okay, we'll stop here and we'll do the end dedication prayer. Page 308. Okay, so let us dedicate the merits thus gathered, the three-day teaching, the merit, whatever that we accumulated. Let us dedicate towards the proliferation of the Buddha Dharma, the Dharma of the wisdom of emptiness, and the Dharma of bodhicitta, and in the minds of all dear sentient beings, in the minds of your parents and all sentient beings, so that the darkness of self-grasping ignorance and the darkness of self-centered attitude are eradicated, and all beings experience the bounties of happiness eternally. Let us also dedicate the merits thus gathered, that His Holiness the Dalai Lama, the true source of joy and happiness on this earth, that he lives long and that his wishes are fulfilled spontaneously. And let us dedicate merits thus gathered, that all these great centers of learning, such as the centers of learning such as the Ganden Monastery, then Sera Monastery, Debu Monastery, and all the learning, the big learning centers of Sakya, Kaikyu, Nyingma, Gelug, and from the Chinese tradition, from the Theravada tradition, may all these centers thrive in the activities of learning, reflection, and meditation, with the practice of the high trainings, the ethical discipline, samadhi, and the wisdom of the wisdom. Through this, may the dharma of the wisdom of bodhicitta flourish in every nook and corner of the universe. And let all these great the centers of learning in Singapore, of the dharma of the Singapore, of the different traditions, and everywhere in the world, they flourish, that everyone gets a share of the wisdom of bodhicitta. And let me personally dedicate the merits thus gathered, that each one of you, through your concerted effort in the wisdom of emptiness and in the practice of bodhicitta, may you see soon the dawn of the bodhicitta wisdom of emptiness within yourself, so that each one of you becomes such a reliable guide to lead all beings to the state of highest happiness and enlightenment. May the light of the wisdom and the light of the wisdom of emptiness and the light of bodhicitta flourish in the minds of all Tibetan sentient beings, present and future. Okay, with that in mind, let's turn to page 308, the end prayer. In the land encircled by a snow mountain, you are the source of all happiness and good. All-powerful Chenre say Tenzin Gyatso, please remain until samsara ends. Due to the merits of these virtuous actions, may I quickly attain the state of a Guru Buddha and lead all beings without exception into that enlightened state.